Welcome back, everybody. So, if you've ever looked in the mirror and seriously wondered if there's a biological pause button out there, or hey, maybe even a rewind button, you are exactly where you need to be. Think of today's explainer as a bit of a Blackboard masterclass. We're diving deep into some absolutely groundbreaking insights from Dr. Fushi Pan. He's a neurosurgeon, a chemist, and he's spent over 3 decades in the trenches of regenerative medicine. We're going to break down exactly why everything we thought we knew about aging, well, it might just be completely wrong. We are talking about a total paradigm shift here, moving away from just playing whack-a-mole with symptoms and actually optimizing the fundamental environment our cells live in. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Most of us naturally picture aging as this smooth, gentle slope, right? Like a really slow, gradual decline from your energetic 20s all the way down into your 80s. But recent research literally shatters that myth. Aging is absolutely not a ramp, it is a staircase. According to Dr. Pan, our biological systems actually take sudden, rapid, staircase-like drops at very specific times in our lives. We're talking major biological shifts around age 55, and then boom, another one in our mid-60s. So you're walking along on a flat surface, feeling fine, and suddenly you just drop a level. The good news, if you can successfully navigate that steep drop in your 60s, you actually have a really strong chance of living a long, very healthy life.
And that brings us to this absolutely fundamental distinction that drives all of modern regenerative medicine. Look, there are basically 2 types of age. You got your chronological age, that's the unchangeable number printed right there on your ID card. Nothing you can do about that one. But then you have your biological age, the actual physical state of your body right now. And here's the kicker. Your biological age is incredibly flexible. It is determined entirely by this constant 24/7 battle between 2 forces, bodily damage versus bodily repair. If the daily damage outpaces your repair team, your biological age shoots up. But if your repair mechanisms are faster and stronger than the daily wear and tear, you stay biologically young. It honestly is that simple.
To help us wrap our heads around how this works, Dr. Pan uses this brilliant metaphor. Just imagine trying to drive your car down the highway, but you've got the parking brake firmly pulled up. As we get older, all these toxic substances just build up in our bodies, and they act exactly like that parking brake. Now, what do most people do when they try to reverse aging? They just slam on the accelerator. They take a million supplements, they try crazy therapies, but the brake is still on. The car is not going to move, right? Before you can accelerate any kind of cellular repair, you absolutely have to release the brake first. You have to clear out that built-up toxicity. And that brings us to the massive flaw in how we currently try to press that accelerator, especially when it comes to standard IV stem cell therapies. It really just comes down to basic math. Look, the dream is simple. Hook up an IV, pump in a bunch of fresh, healthy stem cells, and just let them fix everything. Sounds great, right? But here's the problem. The capillaries in our lungs are incredibly tiny. We're talking maybe 8 micrometers in diameter. But the stem cells that usually inject via IV are massive compared to that, around 40 to 50 micrometers. So what actually happens? You get a massive biological traffic jam. You spend all this money cultivating these perfect stem cells, you inject them into a vein, and they just immediately get trapped in your lungs. They literally never even reach your brain or your heart or whatever organs they were actually meant to heal.
Let's think about this using a modern analogy to understand the next big hurdle. Think about trying to log into your Google account right now. The system is going to ask for your exact email, your phone number, or maybe some guest mode credentials. If you don't type in the exact correct credentials, you are denied access. You simply can't get in. Well, stem cells work the exact same way. You can inject a bunch of stem cells directly into a damaged area, let's say a stroke site, but if the surrounding biological environment doesn't provide the right credentials, the system locks those stem cells out. They are denied access. They can't survive, let alone repair anything at all.
Which introduces us to a really elegant idea Dr. Pan calls the seed and soil concept. Just think of those expensive stem cells as seeds. Okay, so what's the soil? The soil is your blood plasma. Over 95% of the cells in your body live, breathe, and function in this vital fluid environment. If your plasma is toxic, if it's just swimming with heavy metals, aging factors, and metabolic waste, it's basically like throwing premium, expensive seeds onto a radioactive wasteland. Those seeds are just going to die. To fix the body, you absolutely must fix the soil first.
Now, this whole concept builds on over a century of some really incredible science. This is definitely not a new idea. Way back in 1912, a scientist named Alexis Carrel literally kept a chicken heart alive in a petri dish for decades. How? Just by constantly replacing and cleaning the fluid around it. Then jump to 1957. Scientists successfully joined the circulatory systems of an old mouse and a young mouse, a crazy process called parabiosis, and the old mouse visibly, physically became younger. This line of research exploded all over again in 2005 at Stanford, and all of this momentum leads us directly toward Dr. Pan's ultimate goal, creating a fully operational human plasma rejuvenation machine by 2030.
But we don't just have to look at mice to see parabiosis at work. We can actually look right at human demographics. Get this, because it's a super striking piece of natural evidence. Massive statistical studies have shown that women who give birth to their last child at the age of 45 or older have a significantly higher chance of living past the age of 80 compared to women who stop having children earlier. Now, why on earth would that be the case?
It's because pregnancy is essentially a natural form of parabiosis. Think about it. For 9 whole months, an older mother is sharing a blood environment with a brand new, incredibly young, rapidly developing baby. The mother is quite literally connected to a younger circulatory system. This natural phenomenon serves as ironclad, real-world proof that exchanging blood environments can actively reverse the biological clock and seriously increase longevity. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it like that.
Now, obviously, we can't all just go around sharing blood with younger people, so how do we actually recreate this in a clinic? Enter APPA technology. This is Dr. Pan's highly actionable solution. Instead of entirely swapping out a patient's blood, which, let's be honest, is super difficult and requires finding a younger donor, this is a small volume optimization process. It's basically 3 steps. Step 1, extract a small amount of the patient's toxic old plasma. That's taking the parking brake off. Step 2, take that plasma into a lab and use it to induce stem cells to create specific repair proteins. And step 3, reintroduce a young, customized substitute plasma back into the patient. It's honestly a lot like making a bitter, awful cup of coffee drinkable by pouring a little bit out and adding some fresh, clean water, except, supercharged with cutting-edge biology.
So the really crucial point here is what actually happens during that second step in the lab. When Dr. Pan's team took toxic 85-year-old blood and used it to stimulate healthy stem cells in a petri dish, they discovered something completely shocking. Actually, wait, you think the toxic blood would kill them, right? But no! That highly toxic old blood actually triggered the stem cells to produce 300% more repair proteins than if they had just used young, healthy blood. It turns out that harsh, toxic environment literally forces a massive survival and repair response from the cells. The team then harvests these ultra-potent repair proteins and puts them right back into the patient.
And the results of repairing this biological soil aren't just some theoretical lab stuff anymore. The human outcomes are completely staggering. We're talking about patients with severe diabetes seeing their HbA1c levels plummet from a highly dangerous 16 all the way down to a healthy 6 and actually maintaining that for over 2 years. Stroke patients who were treating their eyes went from needing painful injections every single month to just once every 5 months, eventually healing up entirely. And perhaps most impressively, they've successfully stabilized patients with stage 3 and stage 4 chronic kidney disease, which is a condition that usually leads straight to a life on dialysis. By simply fixing the environment, the organs literally begin to heal themselves.
And this just brilliantly illustrates that we are no longer just talking about the distant future here. We are talking about the present. This therapy is already seeing over a 65% positive response rate in clinical applications. They've already got an operating, fully certified GMP factory up and running right now in Jakarta to produce these treatments. Plus, they're currently partnering with 6 different hospitals across Taiwan and Indonesia. The actual physical infrastructure for this entirely new era of regenerative medicine is actively being built as we speak.
Of course, whenever you fundamentally challenge the status quo, like boldly suggesting that aging is basically an environmental disease rather than just inevitable cellular decay, you are going to face pushback. People will think you're crazy. But Dr. Pan shared this really great piece of advice he got from his old chemistry advisor. He said, "When you are walking in front, don't worry about others doubting you. That is normal." And it's so true. True paradigm shifts in medicine always look a little bit crazy, right up until the exact moment they change the world. Well, we have covered a whole lot of ground on our explainer today. We've learned that you simply can't plant good seeds in bad soil. We figured out that aging is a harsh staircase, not a gentle slope. And we now know that the parking brake of toxic plasma absolutely has to come off before any true healing can begin. So as Dr. Pan's team scales all of this up, going from processing just a few cc's of blood today to their ultimate goal of a full-scale rejuvenation machine by 2030, I want to leave you with a really profound question to ponder. If aging truly is just an environmental disease of the blood, what will your biological age be in 2030? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I will catch you in the next one.